Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
As many planets and moons and whatever rotate around the sun, if you understood the totality, so the unicos rotates around one sun, which is the creator, the soul of the creator, where all the energy comes from. When you look at the drawing of the unicos, especially in the back of the third book, the center point is the creator. And the rest are on their own clusters of their own clusters of their own cluster. If you compare it to the soul of the man, your brain has its own soul, your kidney has its own soul, your heart has its own soul, and then within it, there are other sections, compartments of the fields of the strength to clean up the zinc, let's say, in your kidney, another part to clean up any vitamin D's, and another one. These become little galaxies. And then within the galaxies, then you have different tissues and the cells, and then become this like planetary system and whatever. But in fact, the essence of life of this cell in the kidney, which does certain job, is connected to the soul, which has been as a center. And that's the same. The whole universe evolves and fed by the soul of the creator within the center. All these universes are those clusters of kidneys and whatever different galaxies. You are a creator. When you're a mother, you're a creator of that child. But you can be no mother, but create a love for a child, and you still create a new emotion in that child.
Yes, I accept that. But
so,
if I'm a creator, I'm big, so I'm not.
No, who says?
Creator is kind of power.
No. If you create a statue, do you have a power over a statue? Move, sit, move. Left, right. We don't have that. What suits us to befit us and befit our emotion?
Yeah, because we say there is only one God.
And there are many gods.
Okay. And when you say my command is my wish is
it's my decision. It's my decision, and that'll be it. I decide, and that'll be it. But
can I say that also?
Yes.
My wish is my command.
You decide to go to the shop to buy the clothes, it's your command. You decide to go. If you see the clothes doesn't come from the shop to you, does it? Yeah?
Yeah, but it's not instantaneous. You know,
One is in the
has
dimension of
process.
the soul, and one is in the dimension of physicality.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
You just said there are many gods. Do you want to wait until next week to expand on that?
The God is us. Translation of the God as a creator, not translation of God as the big creator of everything. You understand? There is a philosophy which we come into when man matures, even our creator as a creator. Otherwise, how was he created? You understand?
But where does that change stop? Does it
Never.
stop?
It becomes us, it comes back to us to become them, to become us as what? As one.
Kind of like with the technology when you're feeding it back into yourself.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 560th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, October 17th, 2024. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name's Rick Crammond, and I'll be your host once again in this eternal series of ongoing workshops every week. And once again, we have the pleasure and honor of having Mr. Mehran Keshe as our presenter today. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to go?
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you. As usual, whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, we welcome you back. And we try to see how much more we can learn from each other in this session. As we are going, as has been the tradition, the Keshe Foundation, we try to cover a topic over months and couple of years till we go into the nitty-gritties, into the detail, and we try to find out more and more. As we came to the cycle of the soul some 3-4 years ago, slowly, and then we spend quite a bit of time in exploring different aspects of the work of the soul in our lives. Now we are in the dimension and direction of connection of our souls. As you gathered right now, how our RNA, our DNA is built to be partially in a dual carriage communication between the physical life and what we call the connection with the source, where we get most of our energy from. In a way, if you look at it, you're not on your own when you stand somewhere. You get fed continuously, the air, the water, the food which is brought to you or you pick up or whatever that guarantees your survival. It's the same with the planet Earth. is not just something there on its own and is rotating. It continuously receives food from its source. It operates in conjunction with the other organs in its life and other parts. Jupiter gives it some energies which he cannot or he had before itself, now receives something. Saturn gives us the same thing, and we give to Saturn, and we give something back to the what we call the mother. In a way, it wipes our butts, as we say in English. We're still thinking we are a independent planet rotating in the whatever and rotating in certain direction. The sun is still there like a mother, cleaning up the waste and giving new, continuously refreshes, continuously cleans up what we don't need. We call it magnetical. What is magnetical? Is what we don't need. Gravitational is what we need, we take in. It's like the food we take. What we don't need, we let go in different shape or forms, as the sweat and the air we breathe, we let go out of our lungs when we take what we need from it. The same process happens between our planetary system and the mother. And the same thing happens with the mother, which is the sun, and its galaxy. So we see we have eternal connection. But as we are humans and we usually one-dimensional, self-centered, we see everything is around us and is us and everything else. But the world of science has to open its eyes. As I always say, there is no difference between in macro and micro. You see what you want to see, but you ignore the others. But the reality is there. You give birth to a child and leave it on the floor. Don't feed it and don't clean it. Soon you'll run into a problem with the child. So it's the same process. We give, we take, we gather information. One thing which the world of science will come to understand, and it'll come to haunt us if we don't understand it, is if you go back to some of the teaching in the past. By the energy, by information we carry as a plasma of the soul, we give away where we come from, where it's our DNA. It's like when you go to the hospital and you want to claim a child is mine, it says, okay, can we have a blood test? From the blood test we follow, yes, you're a father or you're a mother or who your ancestors are. United Nations does these things nowadays. You pay something money and they tell you your roots back. You started from North America, but in fact they trace you which way your grandparents came and your great-great-parents, and then you end up most of the time somewhere in what we call Persian Gulf, the Straits of Hormuz, across there to North Africa. Unless you've taken the new route, which is your parents flew over directly. We see connections directly from what we call African bloods, fresh blood, or from other parts that they didn't go through the what we call conversion and evolution. They just took a flight, blah blah, Kinshasa into New York, and you're an American second generation, but they cannot see the track line of how you got there. When we don't have that line in the world of science, we see how did you fly in? How was it shipped in? With most of the Africans in America, the bloodline of the evolution doesn't exist because they were flown in, they were shipped in as a slave. But the whites had to go through a clearance system, step by step, change from black to brown and then white, and change the color of the eye to blue to survive. African didn't need to do that when they came as a slave. It's the same with us in the universe. We can track back where our star came from, where is DNA connected to, and can track back where the galaxy's DNA come from. And these becomes literally a routine knowledge in the coming time, because we have to know it to know what is the possibility of us from planet Earth to be able to live in another position in the universe, and what we need to give, what we need to take, to change, to adapt in the position and the time and the place we arrive in. Your soul does not arrive in planet Zeus the way it left the Earth if it wants to manifest itself. It has to adapt, it has to mutate, it has to change, In a way, some higher strength fields will lose their connections, and some lower new strength fields will make connection. They've always been there, but now you need it, you adjust it. This dictates how your physicality will manifest itself. In a way, if you take a soul of the man on Earth and look at the soul of the man on planet Zeus, in certain ways you see the connection of the DNA, but you don't see exactly the same soul, because the soul had to adapt to create, to be able to live in its new conditioned environment. So in every essence, the evolution, what we see in a man's life, is a replication of what happens in the evolution, what to us as a planetary system, as a galaxy, and the universe, and in the unicosmos. But in essence, in a way, when you go back to it, as they've done some 10,000 blood tests across the world by United Nations some years ago, we all come from the same mother line. We have all a common gene mother. So it shows we all came through that way. And this is like, for example, the Jewish always go with the bloodline of the mother. And Muhammad wanted to be slightly different. He goes the bloodline of the son. But in fact, it's the mother who roots down all the way to its essence. So if we do a bloodline change in the soul strength field of the man, we'll see which way he came through. Even it's the same hydrogen connection line, is a slightly different strength, it's a slightly different wavelength, slightly different shapes and condition. You have to remember, to penetrate, you have to shake it to get through it. This is what we call in the world of the science frequency. Light, magnetic field, is on a straight line. When it hits, it starts wiggling to find a way through magnetic field, the strength of the cells to get through the atomic structure. A man has made a name for it. They call it a wavelength, because that's how he wiggles as he gets in. Otherwise, we'll travel on his straight line, somewhere bending a little bit by the field forces of his environment. So we see now the bigger picture. We looked at our own DNA, we looked at our own field strength, if it's my mom or I'm not the father. Now we do the same, we feel the strength of the galaxies and the stars and universes and the rest. Then, as the United Nations shows, the 10,000 women around the world from every tribe and land and corner of this planet was tested, coming down to one bloodline. We see all in love. Doesn't matter what color we are, to one mother, one origin who started all. So it's the same with the galaxies and the universes. Through the dimension of the common strength field of the hydrogen, what we call fundamental element, fundamental plasma, we all find our way to our creator. Then it comes interesting point. Does what we call the creator has a string line to another dimension, to another field strength, which in essence of it is the feeder of it. But where does it get its feed from? And how does it feed this, what we call our universe and the unicosmos? And to what the strength we have become enlightened by the knowledge of the creation. One needs to open his eyes to understand the truth about his own creation and the created. But it comes under the point, in the world of agriculture, we feed the cow, and what the cow drops out, we put it back in the plant, back on the land, and we see it to help the others to grow. What's the replication of this in the world of creation and the universe? I made man in the image of myself, in the field of strength, in my emotion, in my beauty, and in what I don't need. What we see, let's say jealousy, is the God jealous? Is such a streak in him, or is this an orientation of the man on his own due to its environmental condition? But interesting point comes, go back to some teachings of the long time long back, where we explain about the existence of the copper in the what we call the structure of the man, and the need for two brains, two sections of brains, to balance, to create a condition of communication. Then it comes what happened with those who do not carry copper or material structure in their environment. They have the beauty of one brain, one structure, not in two halves. They are not rare. There are many reasons like this, and the connection and collection of these with the soul and the dimension of physicality gives them life which they do not consume. Due to the structure of it, they create that condition of the absorption. They create that condition of the living within the fields which they become the black hole of, and they become the creator. So what we see, we can find parallels. When it comes to the dimension of physicality, in the dimension of its purity, there is always need a balance, what we call Trinity, what we call the structure. Even in the structure of the soul of the creator, where is his Trinity? Why do we call it a mitra? Why have we found the riddle rather than facing the reality, the facts, the structure? I have to give and I have to take, and in giving I have to somebody to give to, and in take I have to get from it. But in the process of giving and taking, there are some bits in the between which comes in and it becomes added. I cannot give you an empty spoon. It has to be something on it. It has to come from somewhere. We call it food. It's the same when you have a twin system. Earth does not have a twin system, but it's part of the structure, because it's a multiple structures of. It has many children at the same time in the same garden. But our sun has the same position. He has a twin. But in give and take, it needs a distance in which the rest of the universe puts on the spoon to give to the other and take from. We see this process in the heart of the man. We see this process in the brain of the man. And then we see this even in our emotion, good and bad. And where we judge what is good and what is bad, we feed from the other one. I used to be a bad guy, now I learned to be a good guy, so I don't do wrongs. We receive some feeling of the strength of the emotion, which brings us to these changes. It's the same with the structure of the universe, structure of the life in the whole entire universe. We always give and we always take, but in giving, some bits are added in between. When it receives by the other side, it's not what we gave. There's something on the spoon which feeds the other. And it's the same when we receive. If you understand these principles, it becomes easy for man to open his eyes to the next dimension of creation, which is, what does RNA gives to the man, to his DNA, and what does it take from? How does it work? How do they connect? How does this disc makes the music, which becomes the structure of the information between DNA and RNA, and then to RNA connected to the soul of the. Our DNA does not speak to our soul. It has a wrong characteristics in field strength. But the collection of its entirely work, we call it the soul of physicality, communicates with the soul of man, which means in a way we call it RNA, but it's in a way the structure of the what we call the soul of physicality. There is always an intermediary. You need it. And then that intermediary knows, like a translator, what you mean, what you've done, and tells the other side understand the language. You got to understand something very chaotic. If every cell was supposed to be in touch directly, which they are, but not in a direct way, they're aware of the existence of the soul, but they go through the boss, which call it soul of physicality or a physical dimension. And then you understand what is the difference between the dimension of the physicality, the soul of physicality, and the soul of the man. And again, the soul of the man is an intermediary between the physical life of the man and its dimension of the field forces with the universe and the rest of the other fields. You cannot be in New York, or you cannot be on the other side of the planet and see what's happening to your child which has traveled there. But you become aware of his pain and you call your child on the other side of the world. What's wrong? Are you okay? Yes, Mom, I'm okay, but I broke my arm. She says, I felt it. Then you understand the game of the soul of physicality. And then you understand the game of the soul. In a way, we connect in the dimension of the soul of physicality to some points where we feel an emotion. But at other points, we connect to the soul of the man to understand the connection in the universal condition and parameters of life. It is important for us to understand all what's happening around us. It's important for all of us to understand how we as humans accept the condition and we become aware of what our capabilities, what are we connected to, what connects to us, and how important is the connection to life to all of us. I made man in the image of myself. So you understand, it's not just emotion, it's the totality of the energy fields which is carried out. In the process of the technology development, this is what we do. We try to create a hydrogen, we try to connect the what we call oxygen, and we try to create amino acids in how we can use it to connect our soul of physicality, the physicality, and the soul of them. This is why you take the ganses, you take the water, you connect the physical side. Now the soul of the energy fields of it has to connect with your soul of physicality to be affecting the rest of the physicality. Your arm moves, your pain reduces or your pain increases. This is not the water which has done it. The energy, the soul of physicality, which in that portion you carried, interacts with soul of physicality of you, which if it balances with the soul operation of what the whole thing is set out for it to do, then you see the change. You see the effect. But if it doesn't show itself, it means it's working somewhere else. You needed it. You looked at the wrong thing, because this, what you're looking at, is not received what it wanted. So we say, oh, this gas doesn't work. But it works, but you have to see if it didn't work, where did the energy of it go? What was short that has been satisfied? And then what was the soul of physicality of the water? What was it supposed to carry? You say, oh, I take a gans of zinc, or I take a gans of CO2 and this and that. Have you understood? Did you work to the dimension of the soul of physicality in the field of what it is, in the gans you received or you made, to connect with first? You don't eat whatever you see in the shop, just pick up and eat. You look at it. I don't like it. This is a bit too ripe. This is a bit too red. This is too hard. It's the same with you. You adjust it. You have to learn how to do it. And this is part of the structure of the soul of physicality of the man. This is how we connect. This is how we know what it is. Have you ever picked up a pear in a shop and say, what can I give you that you give me the pleasure of your existence? Or do you just pick it up as another pear in the basket? There you go. If you do that, you haven't received much. But if you connected with it, you already received all its beauty before even you shop from it, or you take it home. This is what we have not understood. This is what, in the new development of technology, we are pushing in for you to understand more, to see. Those of you who join us tomorrow in the sessions, you have to understand what to do. Do you have gases with you at home? Do you have a gas of CO2? Do you have a gas of, let's say, Zadan? And then, during the session, hold it in your hand. CO2 connects you to the life of the universe and the existence of the material condition of the gases of this planet. Hold it in your right hand because it's the giver. You have zinc with, you have a problem in your, God knows, depression or a pain somewhere, hold it in the other hand. And during the session, we control the other side from inside. And you see what the experience is, how you connect to it, because this is how you will shape your physicality at the end of transmutation. What can I give from what I have, and what can I take from the environment I'm in, which is physically confirm my existence, and then how I feel inside. This is the evolution in the science and technology, which step by step we are bringing into operation. Many of you, you have these communication bundles. Many of you, you have the obesos units with you. It's not just putting it there. Put the gases of the CO2, the bottle you have, on top of the system, and then hold the others in your hand, and then see what change it brings in. You held on to the body, but you never took the dimension of the field, the strength of the emotion of it. That does. Now you understand where we're even taking you in the dimension of the process of using the communication bundles with our system. This is what the maggraph system is. Many times I told you, you just look if it gives me electricity. You haven't looked what it gives you as an emotion to elevation of the soul of the man. How many times have you sat above your system, your magraphs? Then you see what energy you take, not what comes up through the plug. Because there you connect to the field of the soul which connects you to the others. And then you see what enlightenment you receive, what problems which you have created for the others and yourself resolves itself. Now you understand how things work and how you're connected with. In tomorrow's session, when you come in, try to carry with yourself a CO2 bottle and a zinc. And then get yourself a mixture of the CO2 and zinc in a bottle and put it on top of your communication bundle. Then you see how you feel. You don't have a maggrav unit, you don't have a communication unit. Can I connect the other way? Yes, with the bottles in your hand. Something which you have to learn, something which we know but we never understand. If you look in the structure of the physicality of the man, it's very interesting how this thing works and how the things structure themselves. We never look at it. And then we say, why the soul of the man always moves upward? Why in the structure of the graphs we show you, we always see the yellow line on the right side, which is the vertical structure, which is the vertical dimension of your soul. If you look at some of the, what we call the graphs which we have, is very simple. If you haven't noticed up to now, and that is, I'll try to pop one up for you that you can see what we are talking about, then you become aware of one fact. There we are. This is one of the graphs. The one on the left side, which is on this part, ooh, I cannot touch on this one. The one you look on the left side of the central line is your horizontal line. The one on the right side is a vertical, where you see the, what we call the physicality. But you don't see much of your physicality because the dimension of the physical body of the man to the strength of the field of the plasma of the universe is tiny. So in a way it's sitting in that. Sometimes you see a little yellow dot somewhere on the left side of the graph. This is your horizontal. But on the vertical, you see the yellow lines jumping everywhere, because it shows to what field of strength your soul is interacting with. You haven't understood the science of it. It's very easy. The science of it tells us a very simple thing. How does this happen? And how we connect to our souls on the dimension of physicality. In a very simple way, it means as knowledge seekers, you have not understood what happened and why you see in a dimension of vertical soul the yellow lines, which means expansive dimension of manifestation. If we put you on one, we can tell you even where your soul, the physicality will manifest itself. How does this come about? It's very simple. You have the skull, and then you have your body. And this is your physicality. I should have become Picasso. I would have gone bankrupt. But this is the shape of your body. But go back to part of the teaching, which I always said, that the body of the man is a tokamak. What does it mean? You have blood vessels, which runs along your body. But when you look at these blood vessels, if we look at the top of the head, in a way, we observe a magic thing. This is the head, and we look at it from the top point of view. What we'll see, the blood vessels go down on either side. The top of our head is an open gap, more or less, for the blood vessels. It has, but not compared to the rest of the body. This is why in the physical dimension of the horizontal line, the soul of the man is controlled during the time you're with us in a typical manner, which tells you it's connected. The strong field of the blood vessel doesn't allow it to expand too much, as you saw on the graph on the horizontal. But on the vertical side, if I choose the yellow, voila, is open. This part allows the physicality of the man to extend and expand to dimensions of connection. This is why our soul is all the time connected, because this path is open. And when we dream, when we are in the state of the dream, in a way, we are using one part is weaker. So we escape, in a way, through the weaker side of the opening. Try to understand your dreams, in a way, a connection of your soul with the rest of the universe. And try to find out, when you wake up, on which side of your head you woke up. Were you lying on the right side, or were you lying on the left side? Were you sleeping on the back, or were you sleeping face down? And then try to analyze how the fields this comes through, and try to understand the dream or the connection. And then you find out in the structure of physicality which dreams will come to be real. And then you say, I had a dream, I've seen it. Is it when you're sleeping on the right side when you had a dream? Fortunately, we cannot sleep on our head upright like the trees do. And that's why the vertical people, the soul works in dimension of physicality. Horizontally, the roots are limited. Vertically, they have the same opening as we do. In a way, they stuck its head in the sand. Then, if you understand this, then it comes to you another dimension. How we connect with all this, with our body. Go back to the book of science. Something very interesting will come up for you. And that is, if you take all the blood vessels of the man, which goes in every single part of your body, and you take the earth, and you connect all these veins together, let's say you think, what, it'll be 1,000 meter, 2,000 meter of blood vessels? No. If you put all your veins, and in that includes, if you do the same with your neural system, because they're more or less the same, it can go around the earth about 2 to 4 times. That's how much blood vessels is in the body of the man. Then this tells you, if you understand it, how you connect to every point of this planet, how you feel your child. because every part of this vessel, every blood in it, is connected to the given field strength. This is how your cells feed themselves. They take from the in what we call the lymph and the connection with the neurosystem and the connection with the blood flow magnetic fields, what they need, and they regenerate themselves. I made man in the image of myself, which means I take from the universe at every point what I need to the connections I've created. So does the man. Then you understand how your physical life takes shape and why we see these graphs and you see the yellow line on one side and on the other. Because it means our physical life through the vertical line can transmute. It takes its physicality with it. But look at the graphs, how many times you see it below line, which means I'm holding on to, I want to be physical. And see how many times it goes up. And then when you see a large line or an equal line, it means it's got to destination. It has its soul of physicality and the soul together. And there we are. You have transmuted and you held everything together. We never see in our graphs a very straight line of the transmutation. We always say, even on the line, they're all together, because it continuously confirms, yes, I am, I have to keep, and I want to keep to this. I made man in the image of myself. I communicate in my physicality, same as I communicate in the planetary system, in the solar system, in the galaxies. Is one system. It's not adopted for you. You just adopt in what field and strength of it you want to take to be able to confirm your existence. Now you understand how we connect you, how these tests we do on Fridays every month brings the data to us. How many of you move in the physical dimension? How many of you stuck to it? In the dimension of the physicality, we see yellow on the what we call the left side, and we see you guys are still holding on to. And when you see a little dot yellow here and there on the left, it means somebody is there, is too physical, wants to stay behind, is just here for a ride, see if it is, but affects the job of the others who want to go, because we're all connected. You're the anchor to the port. Then when we look at the ones who go through the special cases through Wellness Center, we see different graphs, how much attached. Below the line, it shows how much you're physically attached to it, even though the soul is in a different dimension. Uncertainty in really wanting to achieve. Then you understand every point of the science we have created and we explain now comes together to show they are connected. And there was a reason for doing so. In so many ways, you come to understand every point of the technology which is in the hand of the man now brings him closer to understand his own creation. The process of the fields, not the arm and the leg and the kidney. You have to find out which field of strength will give you what you need, and which field of strength it gives away what you don't need into the universe, into the space of time and place. Watch when a grandfather holds his granddaughter. Who is winning? Who is taking? And then you see why even we cuddle each other, how we hold each other, why we trust those who we trust, we cuddle and hug, and those we don't, we keep a shake hand. Watch a grandfather when he holds his grandchild afterwards and during, and see how much of the fresh energy we call the love is given to him. And then see what he gives back. The process between the two is recycling of energy, confirmation of I give what you need and I take from you what you don't need. That I can still carry loving you. Now you understand. Maybe how your physical structure, even to the blood vessels, brings everything in. As I said to you many, many, many years ago, you try to get your child or your grandchild sleeping next to you ear to ear, side by side in the same direction, or side by side in opposite, your legs on one end and her leg on the other, and try to see what's the difference between the emotion and love and energy on the left ear and the right ear. And then if he's next to you and is riding in a straight line with you, then you understand more about yourself. Do it with your lover, husband and wife. See where is the weakness, where it brings the balance. And then you understand the process of creation. Then you understand how fields connect to each other. And then you understand the process of the RNA and DNA. One has to understand the process of creation is simple. It's made difficult because man never understood the real process. Look back into the dimension of existence and in dimension of connection. You do not need your grandchild to hold her hand all the time to tell and to confirm your love. But through the eye, through the feels, through the smile, through the confirmation, through just a shake of a head, you transfer every emotion which that child needs. And how we do, how we teach physical, and how we confirm. There's a beautiful video on the internet, if you ever get a chance to watch. The Queen of Spain sitting with the princess. Young age, maybe 7, 8, 9 years old. The queen is a distance. The little girl does not hold her legs together, the shoes together, as is a royal manner. And she twinkles and opens like a few centimeters as being a child swinging it on the chair because she's still little and doesn't touch the ground. You see from a distance the Queen of Spain with her hands just bring it together, put your legs together. This is how you should see it. And when she does, she just gives another confirmation of love. This is one of the most powerful pictures you see. And this is how we interact. We don't need to be connected, but we show our thanks and appreciation and understanding and love. This is how we connect to our Creator. Doesn't come and put our legs together and say sit straight. It shows us the way by messengers through our own soul, the understanding of our own connection, and then it shows a nod. This is the way to be done. This is how I love you, and this is how the perfect position is, and how it has to be. This brings you into a lot of new understanding. It brings you to understand the difference between DNA, the physicality, and the RNA, the love of the man. And this brings us step by step, one step closer and one step closer to understand our own life and understand what and how we affect the others' lives and how they affect us, even though we are miles, hundreds of kilometers, and stars and galaxies away from each other. In a way, if you look at the structure of the field of the universe, is one big ball of strings, which is circled, starts with a little ball, and then you twist it and twist it, and you make a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger ball. That space in between the threads and that space in connection between different is the unicos. But the thread of soul of the Creator is what you hold in your hand and you're twisting it to make the ball that all stays the same. That's the love of Creator. This is how we are connected. Does not matter which string and which point crossed us, because it still is the same, and its interaction has created us. So we are created from the love and the fields of the Creator, and how it crosses in that ball, it creates our galaxy. One creates our universe in totality, and at the end, that string is still in your hand, still expanding, because there is so much more left. Then you understand how life is spherical and all connected to each other by one string. We call it the love of Creator, the essence of the creation. Whenever you don't understand the beauty of the creation and how you're connected to the Creator, and you ask yourself the purpose of life, get yourself a long piece of thread, and then start winding it. Keep the circle going. And then make it as big as you like. And then somewhere in one of those two lines touching each other is you in the middle or on the edge. But you still have the end of the string in your hand, which has connected all these connections and knots and junctions with each other. That's how the truth is about the life of the creation. We are all on one string, on one line of the love of the Creator's field. And by twisting and turning, we put different pressure, different connections, different creation, but in essence, we are all connected. This is what I always said. If you understand this, in a way, if you look at how you twist and tangle this rope, and how it creates itself, at the end of it is what we call the same string, the soul of Creator. And you are in this point in the interaction. And maybe interaction of the rope here is the galaxy which is field has embraced you and encompassed you. Then you understand how we are connected to the Creator. All comes from the same source, from the same string. We call it the RNA of the Creator. And the connection of it creates us. But at the end of it, one big question is, who's holding the end of this rope? When it comes to feel the strength of the creation, and how many junctions we see here, that each one is a life of one galaxy, one universe, and in totality, a unicus sits within this. It's just a matter of how long is the piece of string, and how long and how strong is the love of the Creator and the fields which led to creation of totality. And in a way, when you look at this rope itself, is made of many strings which make that strand. Is not one piece. When you make a thread from the wool, it's not just one piece of sheep wool you put together. You add more and you twist it and you twist it and you add more. So this thing is an amalgamation of many, and that is the source of the creation. Life is simple. It's just man, through his own lack of understanding the process of creation, has made it complicated for itself. I made man in the image of myself, because my image is what I made from interaction of the fields of myself with the others of me. I hope you understand and you understood how you're connected. And maybe for the first time you understand when you ask yourself a question: where is God? And where is my Creator? As I said before, get hold of this strand and follow it down and see where it goes back to. And somewhere here is you, but still there is more of, till you come to the other end of the source of, And then you'll find out how life is, how we are all created, but we chosen different interaction and positions. We call it the kidney, we call it the body of the man, we call it the planet Earth, we call it blah, 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 and the rest. But at the end of it is one piece of a string. What is on one end and expanding to, and what is the source where it started from. How twist and entangles to create this ball, we call it the universe, the unicosmos. This is how the truth is about our lives, about our creation and the created, and about every other aspects of the creation in the universe. And then you all understand we have one common denominator string. The way you could trace the mother from North America down which path came to from Central Africa, the same way we can trace the man on this planet, which line of the hydrogen and which connections and where they met and they interacted. But at the end, ends up with the same mother, with the same source. Now we see a bigger picture, as we showed you the connection between the other pictures in the past teachings of recent past. Now we see a deeper understanding of we are all the same. And that's what I go always and I say, what are we fighting? Color of skin, the height, nationality, race and religion, which we all have made these ourselves to say we are different and we are better, or we enjoy the beauty of the variation and say we are here in this shape, name and color and religion because we would like to have beauty of the collection of the colors and the emotion of the feelings of the universe, that it brings us the beauty of the what we call life in totality. I hope you understood more. I hope you came to understand more about yourself than anything else, and how you're connected and how you can connect to your creator. It's just finding the path to the maze, and what will be amazing is how much you understand of your own creation. We go for a break and we come back. And as usual, we'll try to answer some of your questions. Rick, would you take us to a break, please?
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Let me share here. Okay, we are at our intermission for the 560th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, October 17th, and we'll take a short break and be back for the second half where people will have an opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Keshe. And so if you're part of our attendees, you can raise your virtual hand and then we can allow you to speak, or you can put your questions in the chat or the Q&A as well. All right, let's engage in our intermission.
Water is the foundation of our life. It is part of every living creature. Pure water gives you the energy of nature. Now you can have this energy in your home. The Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer is designed for your daily well-being. It increases the pH of the water so your body can absorb more oxygen and stay in its natural condition during the day. Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer. Be pure like the water.
The revolutionary new Flight Enhancement Spaceship unit is due to be launched in June 2022, and in the same year is expected to fly passengers into space, to the moon and beyond for a day or even several days at a time. There is no need for the Flight Enhancement Spaceship unit to carry food or medicine, as it is equipped with the latest space technology for transportation, transmutation and deep space operation. This extraordinary breakthrough technology ushers in a new era of travel without the need of fuel, food or medicine, even during the longest excursions into deep space. Each spaceship unit has a 4-passenger capacity for long or short duration flights and has the capability to travel between cities on Earth in a matter of seconds to minutes, depending on the distance and speed. This ability to traverse massive distance in such incredibly short time is not just a breakthrough for human transport, it also completely revolutionizes the transportation of goods and cargo and will rapidly overcome the need for one of our most polluting practices, namely marine shipping, as it finally breaks us free not only from the combustion of heavy diesel, but from the combustion of any fuel for propulsion in the future. The Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a new paradigm in space travel, space medicine, and space technology.
Okay, we are back again at the 560th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And because it's the second half, we do have the opportunity for questions. But first, Mr. Keshe usually has something he would like to say.
Yes.
Would you like to go ahead, please?
Yes,
Thanks.
thank you very much. Yeah, it's just that there's not much. We're looking forward to the session tomorrow for those of you who join us. It will be a very interesting session for you to understand yourself and the fields within you, to bring balance between the, what we call internal structure of you, to feed one. This is why earlier on I explained to you, if you have a cancer tube, plastic bottles or a glass, and hold them in your hand during the session and see which way you feel. Feels flowing left to the right or right to the left. And at the same time, as usual, we give you the position of the headphones for you. This time could be slightly different. And then bring you a very interesting point of interaction in the sessions of tomorrow. Please be on time. The allocation of time will be, as usual, in the last minute, because we learn a lot of people join in the last hours, a few people, and the allocation of groups becomes a bit harder. We have to wait till the last minute. Try to understand the emotion you feel, the physical emotion you feel, and see who you can connect to. When you listen to the intro, or what we call the promotion we just had about the space flight, this 2020, when we started the space flight, when we brought you into this, what we call the flight room in Linz, many of you over the past few months of training don't need that physical transmutation. From those of you who've been with us for many sessions and have some of the systems, now we see in your correspondence and in what you share with others, you don't need the flight unit anymore. You have learned to transmute. And the only problem you have, if you understood the teaching of today, it should be easier for you to manifest yourself. And the session tomorrow will come partially this way. We try to connect you together, that in the interaction, you learn how you create manifestation in the dimension of the physicality on a point of arrival. So tomorrow, when you join us in the session, try to come with at least 3 headphones, because we need it. And then you will be given a new combination of connection, which this brings into operation the whole of physical and the soul and dimension of the emotion together. It'll be an interesting test for many of you. As, by the way, come with a headband that you can move your headphone to the position we recommend you, and then you understand why. In many of the sessions which we'll come up with for you to learn more, you will understand new ways of using the fields of your body. And then you don't need us, because you already have become passengers of the universe, and you can do it without headphones. Some of you as knowledge seekers have already started doing it. And on the travel group, I saw the entry from one of the knowledge seekers that doesn't need a system anymore to connect to, because he can do it, he's learned it, how to do it, he monitors his own fields. And we have a few people like this in the group that have gradually built up the process to understand, observe, and move. Tomorrow's teaching will be amazing for those of you who are trying to bring physical manifestation to yourself. It will be a joyful time, and it will be for us interesting to see how you lot get connected to. And if you have your what we call cosmic ray communication system, if you have your glasses, and if you bring with yourself 3 bottles of the ganses, choose it. You decide a mixture, put it on the top and connection to yours. And then you will understand how and why we brought the communication bundles in, and then you understand how much it'll be more or less what you call in the English language teleportation, but with representation of the totality. You will understand when it comes to it gradually. On the other hand, everything in the Keshe Foundation is as usual. We're still moving on with the research and development, and up to today we have not received clearance from Iran. And as some of you know, all flights to Iran at the moment are suspended because of the political and the general policy of the center. And we hope the Keshe Foundation will be involved in this kind of things to bring an end to this mayhem. And we'll see and watch and see if we are given the opportunity to show how technology can bring peace and bring the change in many, many dimensions. If there are any questions, we'll try to answer. And I received before I go to it, I received a request, couple of requests. Are the cosmic bundles still available? Yes. Now we have actually have them in reserve. They're built and they're slowly coming as a stock clear reserve. You don't need to wait for this, more or less within a week or so of shipment. And all your other things are getting shipped, and I hope your cosmic materials finally decided on a boxing will start shipping out in the next week or so, because now you receive what you want, and then maybe next week or 2 we show you the images of what it'll be there. Those of you who bought 2 cosmic materials, in the following sessions to come, try to hold those in your hand during the session and see how you interact, how you connect, and how much the what we call transmutation become much easier. This was the purpose we produced this initially and originally. These are the ways. This was called cosmic material, to connect you, to bring this process forward. You will feel it, you feel the strength of the fields, and then we show you the next step in the development. Are there any questions?
Okay, thank you. Yes, we have questions. We have a couple of questions to begin with that are related to the heart and soul, you might say. From Andrea in our Q&A here, who says, good morning, Mr. Keshe. I was talking with you in Sanya about the fifth ventricle, the seat of the soul in the heart, with the 12 equal five-sided pentagons, and you confirmed to me that it is C60. In the teaching 2 weeks ago, you said, within your soul sits the soul of the Creator as it traveled in every dimension to be here, to be there. My question, sits the soul of the Creator in the soul of the physicality, or is it the black hole in the brain? Thank you very much.
I think if you listen to the teaching, especially the latter part of this morning about the string, you should answer all your questions. In a way, as you connected to the string as part of connection of the fields of the Creator, as I said, there are other strings within that the string, like the what they call the ship, which you make the string out of. Those strings in connection to each other within you, in a way, and in conjunction with the interaction of other fields, are connected to create the connection of fields of what you call the soul of physicality, and what you call the soul of the man, and what you call the soul of the creation. In a way, all the fields, depends where they cross each other, are connected to each other because they all come from the same. They build the structure up. And in so many ways, it's just how you want to perceive it, to understand it. You create the soul of the physicality because the structure of the heart of the man, but once you bring that into operation, because of the dynamic structure of the heart, and because of its soul of this physicality, the what makes the shape and the structure of the heart, you have a continuous variation because this thing is pumping in everything from different mixtures and they have different strength. And you have to understand what comes in interacts with all the structure of body of the man and interacts in the field with outside body of the man. So one thing which is very interesting for man to understand is nothing changes as fast as the soul of physicality because it's created, is manifested, is maintained by interaction of all the physical directions and dimensions and the positions of the physical life of the man. There is no field strength package or core that is more dynamic, more versatile, more interactive than the soul of physicality. And then you have to understand all that has to interact with the physical matter side and with the field strength of the souls on the other side. This brings you to understand that the soul of the man, position in the heart, is a collective structure of the field strength of the body of the man in a physical dimension. This is what the blood comes in, it brings in physically. There is a wound, you touch somebody you love, you created a physical conditional, not only emotion, but the touch. You feel the hand of your lover on your skin. You feel the pressure of the anger of your partner. All this comes in, transferred into the soul of physicality in conjunction with what we call the physical dimension of the liquid, which transfers the energy. then you understand how everything is connected and how you need to connect them to understand it. And then you understand why the soul of physicality is very much connected to the position of the heart. And then it's connected to every dimension connection of the body of the man, and then through the soul of the man to this environment. And then how they interact with each other and how they feed from each other. It's very interesting if you test these with what we call the dimension of the soul. And once you learn it, see how it will manifest itself, the change in soul of physicality, and a change in the physical dimension. And this is finding the right field strength. This is why some of you, when you touch the ganses, we change emotion. Because it feeds from the soul to the soul of physicality to a man, even though you're holding it physically. And it brings change of manifestation and a reaction. You see this very beautifully if you put different jars of ganses next to each other. You see them sometimes curl up on the wall next to each other. And then, according to how they curl, the color of the ganses changes, shows their emotion. Let's say one gets much redder, one more shy, one gets a bit darker. And if you see that, and someone say, oh, my ganses change color, watch why, and how, what color it changes to. And then it's like somebody touches you, you blush and you go red, you change color. Now you see it, this is you. You made the ganses. It's a CO2, but it's got a little bit of amino acid which you touched when you washed, when you cleaned up. So it reflects you in the same way. I always say the best manifestation of the man is give him a gas to make with the amino acid and put it on the shelf. You can even feel the emotion of the family because it connects to all. And then you understand how our soul of physicality, physical dimension, and the soul of the man are connected even from a distance from the system. One of the knowledge seekers used to call home when he felt something and ask his partner, what color is the jar? Has it changed color? Does it move to the other? Because he understood he's connected and the gans feels his emotion. We have to understand there are a bunch of bottles of 30 liter, 100 liter, 80 liter of gans mixture. There you have a glass jar. Here you have the skin of the man. That's all it is. I always said with my children that are grown up in a little bottle, everything in them is the same as us. It's us who changes them because we want to feed ours onto it. But if you put it together, you see the same colors, the same emotion, the same joys. It's the interaction of the physical environment with what's inside us. We call it the soul of physicality, and how we connect to the others. Do a test. Make a gas with the amino acid of 2 or 3 gases, and let your partner do the same. And put them in different rooms and bring them together and see how they interact, and then you see how you feel, how your emotions go. Then you see yourself outside. I made man in the image of myself. I made the image of myself in the jar, and I see how it interacts. Then you understand the work of the physicality, which shows in the change of color. You see the physicality, how the ganses take shape, And then you understand the connection to the field interaction, the soul light, which is in the middle of itself. Then you understand the connection. And if you look close enough, everything is moving in there. It's not just gases sitting on top of each other. And if you one day become very clever and could break into it, you will see heartbeat, the emotion of repetition in every gans you have. Then you understand he has a soul and life. Any other question?
Thank you for that. We have a related, somewhat related question from Claudia, and let me read it. It goes, hello, Mr. Keshe. I was studying the teaching of 558th Knowledge Seekers Workshop, and when you said the first thing a child does when it passes through the birth tunnel and it's born in the dimension of physicality is to cry. It's because it confirms to itself that it has taken a physical shape. And she goes on to say, and I correlated with the teaching of the 346 Knowledge Seekers Workshop when you said, in the world of medicine, the first breath you take, they say the cry of the pain of the child is the closing of that gate in the joint of the two halves. But now this process is to be shown. We teach in the coming time that how you can bring as much this pressure as this releases, you can bring the two together. So my question, she goes on to say, my question is about, excuse me, about this gate that we call in the medical school duct arteriosus. Is it possible to open again this gate with the fields in adults, and how can we do this? I can put up a
Yes, I know.
picture of that.
Yeah. Now, for those of you who would like to open it and show it, you have to go back in the teachings we did with Dr. Kostova on the medical side, years and years, some 10 years ago nearly. And in some of the teachings we explained, if you look at a heart, it has 4 chambers. Each chamber takes different pressure. Each chamber has different dimension. And each one has different characteristics of physicality. When we are in the womb of the mother, is the job of the blood circulation of the mother through our system to look after part of this. So when is that part looked after by the mother, the 2 chambers with the hole which they talk about needs to be opened, that it all works as one function in conjunction with the mother's, what do you call it, blood system, circle of life. Each chamber, if you go into the teaching, I explained in original time before mammals or before life created in the life of the animal kingdom, we had 4 different parts, or we had 4 different systems. One was for the blood circulation, one was for the lymph, and the others which I explained in the teaching. And as body became more efficient, one part of the heart was created, and that part is combination, is in pressure, responsible for that job. We know, for example, every time the heart contracts, it sucks at a given pressure on the chamber into the blood vessel, like a sucking down the straw, heart being the mouth, the straw being the blood vessels, from the bone marrow of the, let's say, the limb, the femur. So it needs a certain pressure that continuously, the field strength of the what we call marrow to be sucked up, and we suck up. You cannot push and suck on the same system. So heart has got a chamber which is entirely working on taking what we call the bone marrows from the body to bring it in circulation and spreading it. Then you have the lymph system, which again, another chamber is just for the lymph, to bring the lymph energies and mix it in the pot. And then you have the two pushing parts. It's huge amount. It goes down the earth 2-3 times, down the vessels, and suck everything up, back up to circulate. Then you understand the process of the 4 chambers. One is for the lymph, one is for the bone marrow, one is for the pushing out, and one is for pulling back in. And all happens in the same time. So 4 chambers have come together, or 4 pumps have come together as one system. We call it the heart. Then you have to understand the bone marrow and the lymph work independently. But the blood flow circulation had to be connected to the mom, and you have that little chamber, it's the pressure valve the body learns. And once this closes, it's closed. It's not a physical reversing. We know in the world of medicine, there are people who create a lot of calcium in their body, in their blood cells. There are about 10 or 15 of these people alive around the world at any time. So the body converts potassium into calcium. It changes all sorts of things to calcium, and this calcium is more than what it needs when it comes to fatty parts. When the bone marrow does, we call it deposited on the liver and lung, and what we call it heart, and we call it the fatty liver. In the case of these people, the blood vessels get deposited with calcium. And if this calcium increases and gets deposited, because of some enormous amount of it, on the wall of the heart chambers, in time and in rubbing, creates a hole between the two, and you die. It's a well-known, what we call medical condition. So we know we cannot open this channel. Doesn't matter, in the same position or another. But you got to understand, when it comes to, don't look at the liquid of the heart pumping, look at the fields, which, and the direction of fields, which, and the position of the amount of the blood which are coming in with, then you understand a continuous combination of the fields. You can change it with the field interaction with the gans, but you cannot physically open it. If you've been with me, I sometimes, when we were testing, I give you a bottle. When we used to have the bottles made in, what we call it, Belgium. When you used to get 3 bottles, one for the water, physicality, and for the rest. I used to put a bottle on the back of your chest and ask you, do you feel any changes in your heart? Sometime I used to put a water drinking bottle and a bottle for physicality in the back and front of the heart. And then I ask you if you feel any difference. Yes, it's tightening, it's opening. What you told us is how you interact with the system. Yes, we can interact with the fields, change the fields of the heart, but we cannot open that physical dimension, because once it's sealed, it's the line which you are connected, you are now working on your own from the womb of the body. We've seen in the past few years with the artificial heart, you'll find a lot of people have totally different emotion after they come off the heart machines, when the body is repaired. What they do, the doctors, they add a little pump next to you. You carry it on your body sometimes. Sometimes it's connected to a machine, depending on whatever the scale of the work. And this takes a lot of work from your heart. So the heart is in a what you call rest motion, and the repairs become much better. And then after a few months, they just take it up and you connect it back to your own heart, because now it's done the repair. We cannot do that with the machines. We cannot connect the two together. It's the same with the heart of the man. Physically, you cannot. But use the GANs machines if you want to, if you understand it. Make a right combination of the GANs and put it on your chest and see how it feels. And then you know if you're connected. And then you can interact with it. It's one of the shortcuts, but you have to be very, very, very careful. Do not do it because you don't understand it. But we know the system, we know how it interacts, and you feel it, then you understand if the system works and is connected. And you can change the magnetic fields of the blood flow inside the heart or against it, but you cannot interfere with the physical part. There are two different things. And it doesn't mean just because you cannot open the what's called valve or the connection between the two, you cannot change the dimension of the field strength of the blood and the heart using gases. You got to understand how to do it. Any other question? Don't forget, sorry, don't forget, you're a schizophrenic body. You have a physical operation. You have the energy operation. You have to understand in every cell both exist. And if you cannot get it physically done, you can interact with its emotion, magnetic fields. Okay.
Okay, we have a hand up here now with Berang, I believe it is. Would you like to open your microphone and go ahead? Hello, Berang, did you...
Hello.
Yes, we hear you.
Hi, dear Rick. Hi, dear Rick. Hi, dear Mr. Keshe. Thanks. And really, really thankful for your great teachings. And last session, 559, was so shocking and so great. And so I cannot explain what was for me and for others. I have three questions. Two of them belongs to others knowledge seekers. One of them is my question, and I will just ask these three questions. First of all, I start from the patent of Keshe Foundation, or your patent. Or patents, because recently one of the Iranian knowledge seekers who translated your books, he published one of your patent PDF, and then dear Raphael asked him to not publish it because Mr. Keshe in Brazil teaching asked to not publish this. And I just wanted to ask first, what's the position and what's your decision? Thanks. This is my first question.
Our patents are open to public, but when you translate it, it brings a lot of, what do you call it? Just because you translated it doesn't transfer the knowledge of the patent. This is why we ask, if you do it for yourself, because your translation from what you understand could bring total misunderstanding into it. We come to it next week, in 2 weeks' time, where we gave our patent in the sealed keys to world leaders, including Obama, in 2012. And then it was in the hand of governments for 4 years, and in 2016, we opened it to the world population, and according to the sources in patent office, it created chaos. So much downloads that they had to bring in backups to do it because they thought they were cyber attack. But at that time, but it was so many people downloading the patents of the Keshe Foundation. You have the freedom to download. We gave it away worldwide. We open our patents, give to humanity. But we object to it to be translated and spread around, because if it's not done the correct way, you bring misunderstanding and then problems in the future. This is why we say we don't like you to translate. If you do it for yourself, do it for yourself. This is why we are so pedantic even with the books. It has to be done the correct way. We try to monitor all the translations, whatever is done. So yes, you can download, it's freely done, we open it to public, but no, do not translate it and publish it on the line, because it's a technical pattern and you don't have that knowledge of technicality it was written on. You translate it as words you understand, and that can create problem for the future generation understanding the pattern, because then it says Mr. Keshe said this, but it doesn't, because the translator did not translate it correct. In the future, when knowledge seekers become more in-depth with the knowledge, maybe a group of them sitting and going through it to do a translation, yes, to understand all aspects of it. So the pattern is there, we publish it everywhere, it's a gift to humanity, but translation of it, I always had the objection to, because unless it's done by an expert and translated the correct way, let people translate it and understand it according to themselves. And when you get translation of these patterns from anyone in your language, you open yourself to a lot of misunderstanding, because they didn't understand, they just translated the words, not the essence of it. This is one of the biggest problems with the Keshe Foundation books and the patent. It's written in understanding of the, what we call partially the culture of English language and partially the emotion of being Iranian, especially in book 1. And when we gave the book 1 to, for the edition 2, they said there's so many mistakes in it. So lady in England, I'm English translator, whatever correction, I do it. When the book came back, it was totally not even so many percentage of what is in the original book. Because she put her, and when I explained to her, you cannot do this, this is how I understand it, and I'm there to correct it. I said, you don't even understand what has been translated, what has been written, because you don't have the scientific knowledge. But when you look at the German translation of the original book 1, it's very precise. It's done by a scientist. And that's why you don't see book 2 and 3 in German, because to do book number 2 and 3, I have to spend 2 or 3 weeks sitting with this couple, with the Schneiders, to make sure is what said in the book is what is translated. If any of you have book edition 1 of the book 1, and you read the, what we call second edition, you see there's a huge difference. Book number 1 is what I've written. Book number 2 is what is corrected by somebody who had no scientific knowledge, and it had to be done because there was some English word mistakes. I prefer the one with mistake because I understand the essence of it than somebody trying to, and it's the same with the patterns. If you are interested in part of the pattern, take it out and go translate into language, and then understand the meaning of it, what it means, and then write it in the translation of the line. And then your understanding might come near to it. And this pattern opening has a lot of effect on whatever. You got to understand, go back before 2006, 5, when we opened the Keshe Foundation, we start teaching. and we spread the knowledge. And go back to 2012 when we gave the patents to the governments and they gave it to the scientists. Don't forget, Chinese spent 10 years studying the patent. They're still studying the patent. They're trying to see what they can get out of it. And this has brought revolution in science. And we see it, be it in nanotechnology, be it in the plasma technology, and it's become part of the world of science without anyone, in a way, understanding. And as the scientists read it, they take their own understanding with the knowledge of what they have in their science, they come up with the new solutions. We saw this one with Tesla. A few years ago, they came up with a new energy battery and they're going to patent it. I wrote to them, you go and patent it. This is the Keshe Foundation, you just put different word and part of your own understanding. It cannot be patented because it's a shared knowledge as a gift to humanity. Tesla couldn't patent it. We have, as I said, Mexican, Romanian, American, who took the teachings of 2014-15 when we brought the star formation, and in 2020 has put a patent in the name of American Naval, what they call it, services, as an American patent actually claiming the star formation. And he's given the patent. But nobody ever spoke about it, and now the Keshe Foundation patent, or what they call free work, given to this guy in America, to an American Naval Forces, have the Keshe Foundation star formation from 2014-15 when we showed it live with left-hand reduction in, what do you call it, on our teaching. American patent officers are so stupid they didn't check. This guy's cheating. But they're set to do it, that if you come, let's say it's American, it's very easy. 2014, star formations done by knowledge seekers in the Sensano, live, you saw it. And then this guy's taken it and put it American intellect patent. So let them do what they do, but the knowledge doesn't change. But let them do what they understand. We showed the weight reduction in star formation in London conference, and we've seen the guy in America says it cannot be done. They're still trying for 5 years building a star formation which even shows 1 gram of reduction. The guy can't get in there using a hot plasma and the rest. It has to be open, but it has to be independent investigation by every knowledge seeker in it, not by translator, which somebody who translates and put in there what they understand. So the patterns are open. Do not publish what you translated, because you could translate 100% wrong whether what it says, what you think it are, because you could put it in a Google translation, or you think your English was so good. This special pattern, the big pattern, every claim of it has taken sometimes hours of discussion between me and Jack Lorenz. I don't want this word because it means something else. It changes something else. Some of the pictures, I have the file of the pictures. Some of the pictures you see in the book or in the patent is so precise. It's just to you as a picture. But I think some of them have 50, 100 correction before we came to what I was happy and I could explain it. And you just look at it and, oh, that's what it is. There's a reason we put even a dot in a pattern in a certain place. And if you just translate and don't understand what it's connected to, so you pass on the wrong information because you do, and the people don't understand, think, oh, this is what the pattern says. It's not. And so please, what you translate, keep it to yourself and don't put it in public, because you can create more damage and misunderstanding than actually you think. And that's why we said don't do it. Original pattern is there, take it down, see what you understand. There is no peer reviewing, and when you translate, you become like a peer reviewer. This is what I understood and it's wrong. Question number 2.
Thank you. Very clear. Thanks a lot. The second question is about sleeping and about remembering the sleep. Is that healthy? Is that not healthy?
You
Or
mean
is
dream?
that our brain decide? But yes, dreams.
Yeah.
Dreams.
Yes,
This is a
carry on.
discussion. Yes, thank you. Is the discussion now like, is that healthy to remember it or is not healthy to remember it? Because you talk about the schizophrenic.
Why is it wrong if you remember you kiss your child? Is it right to remember you cuddle your child in the dimension of physicality? What is wrong with remembering what do you call it, the dimension of energy side?
Sometimes it's a nightmare, what we should do in this case.
It's the same, so you have to find out the source of it. Most of the dreams of the man is connected to their physical life operation and whatever chit-chats. You talk about going to America and tonight you have a dream, oh, I was in Los Angeles, I did this and that, and I fell off a cliff. So wasn't that something you had, you thought, or you heard a part of discussion? Then when you have dreams, just don't look at the dreams, or what I call shower of the soul. Look back in, was I involved in discussion about going or doing such a thing? And then you find out some of your dreams in that level are connected to your solar physicality than the soul structure. Because solar physicality in interaction with the brain of the man creates a reality of existence. It's not necessarily to do with the soul of the man. And then you understand which dreams are connected with the travel of the soul, which is connected to both of them interaction, and which one is to do with the soul of the man. You have to be educated, you have to start learning. Now you know the difference, you're responsible for it. Then you understand why you dream and how you dream. And what's the reason for that dream? Even though it'll take hundreds of years for it to become reality. You know about the ruler who had a dream about Moses, and then he ended up with him on his arm. He had to feed his own enemy. Was it a dream, or was the souls were there to bring confirmation of new cycle? So you have to understand which one is the dream or interaction of the fields of the solar physicality, which one is the interaction of the solar physicality with physicality, and which one is connected to the soul of the man. A lot of the ones which are connected to the solar physicality and physicality ends up with you kicking and shouting, or rapid movements. The one which are connected usually with the soul is a very subtle movement. It's just blinks of the eyes. You can see the depth of connection. Go on the internet and open what I explained today about the blood vessel distribution on side, face, and top of the head. And then you understand a lot of it, how physical dreams come into operation and how soul dreams come into operation. Sort of physicality does not have that much access to the top of the brain as the soul of the man does, because it sits in the center. And so it's very much physical interactions, but it's in conjunction with the soul, and then you have to understand the difference. Next time when you have dreams, just stand still and understand the essence of your dream and go back 24 hours, 48 hours, a couple of weeks back, and see where this topic was discussed. And then you see, if you have no recollection of it, then you can connect it to the soul of physicality, because this is in this compartment. It hasn't gone to the head office, it hasn't gone to the soul. But there's a connection with the soul, then it tells you, okay, what's next of it? This is how Prophet received messages from above. interaction of the light of the soul, the creator, into the soul of the man, they saw it as a light. Then you got your answer.
Thank you very much. Can we say even the nightmare is a process that is trying, like our body or physical soul of physicality, trying to face us with the problems and solve it? Like, can we say
Oh,
this
it
is the
has
technique of
different. It has different reasons. It has different reasons. What they call nightmare. Why don't you call the ones which are sweet a nightmare? You only remember the hard one, it becomes a nightmare. What you cannot accept. If you
Exactly. Thank you.
This is the problem. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And the third question for today, the word emotion in English, it's a combination of E and motion, like energy and motion, which is the same things you explained. It starts from the source, it's the energy in motion, light, what we call it, or creator, and it creates the rest of it. So is that just a coincidence? It is emotion, or is like they understood the fact and they choose this word for emotion?
Because the foundation work is based on English, a lot of things goes into understanding a lot of things behind it. And in the language, the understood energy which creates reaction, and that reaction creates emotion. And then most probably they create the word of emotion out of it. We have this in English language. I'm sure it's the same in many other languages. It's like in English you have Robin Hood, and we all say he's a very good man, but if you break it out, it means a thief.
Thief of jungle.
Because
exactly.
he had a hood and he robbed people. They couldn't identify it. And then the word came, Robin Hood, a thief in the undercover. But now is glorified because he gave some of what he stole to the others, but in fact that's what it is. And so understanding what the word you use and what's the essence behind it. This is one of the biggest problems I've had in life, living in the UK for a long time. They told me, you're not an Englishman, but you use it this way, you should use it as this in dictionary. I said, no, it doesn't, because it means it. You understand the essence of the language. And this is part of the problem. In emotion is like you have emotion which has an energy behind it, or it's got an ethic behind it. It doesn't mean necessarily energy. Ethic of emotion, why do we do it? Go into the English culture and language and go into Latin and dig it out, and you understand maybe more why it's called emotion. But it's the essence of the reaction of the man, physical conditioning, what comes in as energy. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the roots of the word emotion, and apparently seems to come from the French and from Latin as well. The French is a social moving, stirring, or agitation, and the Latin is to move out or remove or agitate. And it's a combination of ex and mover, ex mover, and means out, to move. So to move out.
You can imagine what the French says, emotional.
Yes, exactly.
That's how it is.
Okay, you look here at our Q&A. Stephanie had a question, and you've started to, or maybe completely answered it at this point. Can you speak on lucid dreams? Which was our next question.
What?
Can you speak on lucid dreams? Lucid just means being able to interact in your dreams, sort of like reality, or what we call reality in our daytime.
It is a reality. We don't want to accept it. And it's part of its reaction. You confirm it back in the shape of physical motion. That's all it is. Maybe what you call lucid dream is the reality of the life of your soul.
Maybe that's the soul dreaming that you talked about as opposed to the physicality dreaming.
Soul is a soul connection and dreaming. You look at their life. We look at the life of our brothers and sisters. Oh, he did this, he did that. But why don't we look at our soul and see what it did? It's a physical, real thing. It's your other schizophrenic part. And it's a beautiful part, because without it, you can't exist. And this is part of the structure of the existence. You call it, let's say, but it's actually, now you look at the interaction of the fields of your inner energy, and as it interacts with your physical brain, it shows reaction. So to you is real. It's just like in playing in 3D games, but this time is your physical 3-dimensional structure which takes shape. Any other question?
Have a hand up, or at least a notice that he would like to speak with Ivan. I'd like to go ahead, Ivan.
Hi, Mr. Keshe. It's Ivan from Bulgaria. Like, I need to get introduced 7 times. So, today I wanted to discuss something because I was really wondering how exactly intention work within the body. Because you bring very interesting point, not to pull the fields inside, but just to try to expand them. And I was trying to go with my intentions to different parts of the body. And I see very interesting reaction, like if I concentrate my intention in a certain point and just keep it there, like after some time, it just get pulled down. And I wonder, is the intention as well some kind of magnetic fields, and does it increase in mass when I just keep it in position, and then when this mass increases to a certain point, it changes positions toward the center? Because I had an experience that I was in the field and I just concentrated my intention just to keep my focus on the central spine, and after some time I just got pulled into it, like I could feel that I'm within the ray, like really inside, and it was very strange emotion to it. So I'm wondering what is the kind of control, because when we see the system that you showed, that the system need to gather fields in order to move in position, is it the same with the intention within the body?
It is, in a way. It's just that we don't want to accept it or understand it. Nowadays we have cameras And we see things which is very interesting. Somebody does intentionally touch something, or do they do it as automatic response, or it's just set to do that repetitive thing whenever you pass a point or a position. And what reaction, what does this give you? You pass your partner, you know what they say about the first week of loving, a year of loving, after having a child loving, and after 50 years loving. In first year, first week of loving, you pass your partner and you just touch because you just want to confirm, I love is there, I want to confirm it. When it comes to after a year, she looks, why is he touching me? But you did that for the first week. After having a child, you touch your partner the same way. Because, why'd you bother me? Don't you see I have a child in my hand? And then when you come old, you don't even bother to touch because so much came that you forgot about to touch. And you look at, it's the same people, the same bodies, the same environment. It's just reaction to different emotion. And you don't have in your head in the first week, just I want to touch. You automatically touch. But what do you get from it? Subconsciously confirmation of love. Giving. I confirm you are there and I want to give you my love. You do the same touch, the same position with a baby in the arm. Now it has a different meaning. And then you look at the way you touch in the first week and the first child. Then you understand how emotion plays in dimension of physicality and what it conveys to what you do and what is received as or perceived as. And this is very interesting. And then you understand, I don't want to do this emotionally because physically I see this, and I stop doing it because of the reaction what I see. First week of loving, a first year of loving, that touch meant a lot in you confirming to yourself, still there, I still can love. After a child, it's just, I don't move it. You make sure you don't touch because you might get the slap in your face. So we control our emotion in the direction of physicality. And this is very interesting for us. Then we understand how this becomes part of the structure of the soul of physicality of us. And this is why it's important in a relationship to confirm you're loving continuously, because then you understand that you don't have to go through the pain of watching what you do and how you do, and it can create pain for you. And it's the same exactly what you say. We remember, and the sort of the emotion we show in a physical dimension of confirmation of emotion allows us to take certain ways and understanding and create emotion against it, or with it, and enjoy it as a beauty, or find it as a way of what do you call it, regrets and pain. This is part of human body structure, and we cannot stop it. And this is part of us as humans or animals, and memory collection of the emotion with the physical movement. Watch people with lip Parkinson. Watch people with what do you call arm Parkinson. It tells you a lot. Are they happy to what they see? Or is that the reflection of what they did not want to see, but they kept it in the physical dimension to remind them of their physical pain, where before was a pleasure. It's our emotion connected to our physical life and the soul of physicality.
I want to compare experience because in one workshop you were saying that we are able to jump from one magnetic field to the other straight, like a spiral. And I think I had like experience like this where I was just concentrated to pull fields and then I black out and then I came back and it happened like 3-4 times until I finally reached like really strong emotion within me. Do somebody else like have similar experience where they just like break out for a moment and then just they came back to consciousness?
We are always conscious of the change. And you're not the only one. A lot of people go through this. Most of us do in our lifetime. It's attaining or receiving different field strength. And how much we target to get and what we expect to get and what we actually get. It's like a hunger, but we do it in a field dimension. And it's very normal. But when you do that, you create a concentration of the fields and the blood flow. And if you don't match it, they call what they call blanking, which means the blood doesn't go to the eye in a way, but the consciousness is still there.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's just, look at it, it's very much, it's not the elevation, it's receiving what you need and then understanding what you received and how much of it you want to keep.
I think I got it. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Any other question?
We have another hand up here with Marinez. Marinez, would you like to go ahead, please?
Yes, thank you, Rick. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much for more and more teachings. We are getting to the gravity of knowledge, the center part. Do I have permission to give an example of Holy Book about this light you were talking about? Light over light?
Yes.
Please? Thank you very much. It is in the Surah. It's a small chapter. Surah 64 and the verse 37. The name is the Surah An-Nur, light. The name is the light. It says, God is the light of the skies and the earth. His light is like a place where there is a lamp. The lamp is in a crystal mirror or glass form, looking like a shiny star, which lights up by a holy tree, an olive tree, which is neither from Orient nor from the West, and its oil shines without even touching any fire. It's light over light. It made me think of that thing you said from the central light. The others get light, and the others get light, and things. And then in the other verse says, God directs to his light to who he wants, proposing his, God directs his light, who he wants, proposing his stories to teach. God knows perfectly all things. This lamp in a place God permits this lamp in a place where, by God's permission, where people come in dawn and sunset to invoke God. God permits in some places where people come in the morning and sunset pray, this light be there. So for me, it was like what you said about the light, central light, and the lights, and the lights, and the lights, and the lights, and the microcosm and macrocosm.
You got to realize that different lights, as we call it, as you call it, if you look at the picture which we drew, the string and the ball, we see lights in different ways. The interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of physicality is a magnetic field interaction. So it creates light. But then you have the soul of the man, again, magnetic field, with the string itself, which is the soul of the creator line, which creates a different light. Then you see the light within the light, where the light between the interaction of the soul of the man and the fields from the soul of creator, or the line of the string as I call it, then you see a different light. You are interacting with a very powerful field. This is like when you have a daylight and a nighttime. The light on the other side is still shining because it's interacting, but this time, instead of having a solid earth, you have just a field. So the light of interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of creator is so strong that overshadows, but it still confirms the interaction between the soul of the man and the soul of physicality. So you have the two lights. One is the inner dimension of the man within himself, and one is the dimension of the man with his creator. So it's the light of the light. You understand?
Yes, yes.
This is where we cannot separate. When our magnetic fields interacts with the environment, we see the aura of the body of the man. When two fields like the earth and the sun interact, dynamic plasma, they have their own field interaction. Look at the crystal wall and create a magnetic field inside it and make two of them, and you see they create a light and can be seen by both inside. This is soul of physicality with the soul of the man. And then that soul of physicality on the other side of it, which is actually covering it totally, interacts with the soul of the creator, which the interaction of the fields creates its own light, and both lights exist within each other. Many of you will start seeing this when you start using the, what we call the cosmic ray balls, cosmic dust, because it's a spectrum of, and then you will see it. Some of you will see the interaction, and you see what you give and what you take, and which side is lighter and which side is darker in field strength, but still you recognize it. A lot of things in the holy books is written in a way that the man could understood 2000 years ago, but now we understand the physics of it and we can easily translate it, and it has a lot of meaning. That's the only way they could write it that people could connect it to their physical life and still be mystical. So, yes, there is a light within the light. Even your solar physicality interacts with the soul of your organs, and you still see the light within them. It's the way we confirm that they exist. And we see the light of Earth and the Sun. We see the light of the solar system with its galaxy, and we see how a galaxy shines within the universe. It's the light within the light, but all lights are created through different interactions. But if you make it transparent, instead of a solid ball, then you see the light within the light, and you understand what it means. But the beauty comes if the interaction, the strength of the fields of the soul of physicality and soul of the man be the same strength as the soul of the man with the soul of the creator. Then you can imagine what level of gratitude the man has achieved that can have such a light in the dimension of physicality within his soul and the soul of physicality to be as right as the creator. This is the station of the prophet, universal prophet, because it shines the same. And then you understand how the light exists within the light.
I think the way you say it, the way it's explained, if the men knew how worthy they are, how majestical they are made with all these lights, and they would never lose hope in their life.
It's understanding. It's not an interpretation, it's understanding what you call the truth about the creation, and not twinkling with it to fit our understanding.
And now that we talk about creation, I know that I have seen that emotion of the plants. I know that what I wanted, the flower arrangement, was giving it to me. But does the plants have soul or just emotion?
Of course they have soul. Of course they have soul. In the writing of Baha'u'llah, bless his name, he says, even the stone has a soul.
Yeah.
And we have it in the writing of Moses and Jesus, and Muhammad refers to this in Quran a few times. It's just how people understand it and how they can connect to it.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
God bless.
Well, it's if you understand this, even a grain of the sand has a soul, because otherwise it won't be a grain, because it's a collection of many bits. In those people who have no connection with Islam, but they see people do things, is very much is the prayer stone, which is carried by Muslims to pray on. If man could understand the beauty of it, the essence of it, how it brings man to be in the dimension of the soul, where the same stone can be used to stone the man to death. What same stone gives elevation to the soul, to understanding, to humbleness. And if the same stone is used in a different way, it can take life and end the light. And it's how man understands in what purpose that stone is for, and what is the soul made of, and what is for the elevation of the soul of the man, and what is to separate the soul from the soul of physicality. And the question is, which one do you choose?
In fact, in Surah number 2, the name of a beef, a cow, at the end, in verse 286, at the end, it says, prophet believed in God, what was sent to him, angels, all other prophets, all other books, without any difference between the books and prophets. And the believers should do that. In fact, this matter about Islam, which is a different, it says in Quran that it came accepting all other books and prophets without discrimination. So it's a lack of knowledge, but that people think there's a difference between religion of Christianity and Islam. It's all embodied.
It's who gets more money. That's what it is today.
That today,
That is
don't
today.
talk about that
But
today.
in the book is in a way to bring equality to all. It's just different languages.
Equality and light and hope, education, hope,
Life.
civilizations, to be civilized.
We're all civilized, but according to our own understanding of civilization and our own ethics. You know, it's like you see these very highly educated people, and they call it the royal family. And when you go inside them, they are worse than the mafias. Mafias have their own ethic and their own ways, and so does the royal families. It's all how it fits to show what. But in essence, sometimes the mafias are better, what we call emotional understanding, than the royal families. It's supposed to be the creme de la creme. Then this is what is us to understand which one is which and what is the truth.
We elevate all of us.
Well, that's what we need at the moment.
Thank you very much.
As Guy said, the guy has run out of elevators. That's why we're all stuck on the ground floor. Any other question?
Thank
you. Very good. Question from Hong, who says, I am a new knowledge seeker participating in learning, and you have taught about playing with fields and interacting with fields. I would like to ask, are there any exercises from basic to advanced levels for interacting with fields?
It's all one level. It's your understanding. The fields are all the same, behave the same. It's how you're prejudiced in how you play with them, and in how it gives you the pleasure to be with them. Is an entity the same? Get yourself a few magnets to walk away from flat and square magnets. You want to see the work of your soul, the interaction of fields. Get yourself a spherical magnet. Even they're inside, they have a place, but because of the spread of the magnetic dust, they have a more symmetrical reaction. And see how they change, how they move, how they rotate. A solid magnet, square, whatever you put, you only see one-dimensional movement, left, right, or whatever. You get yourself a spherical magnet, put it in a bag, a small, what do you call it, bag, and hang it from somewhere. And then bring the magnets together. You see how the magnet, mark your magnets, which one is the north, which one is south, and just don't see how they push each other away. See how they rotate the balls themselves. And then you understand about the work of the fields and how fields react. And then you open your eyes to look at the reality of the fields and interaction of fields and the emotion they create. it's I used to do this quite a lot because magnets on the table, spherical magnets, they just push each other to one way or the other. But the spherical magnets, if you can set them up the right way and you can keep them loose, not in your, what do you call it, restriction of hands or whatever, then you see very much the field strength interaction of the field. You can call one of the smaller to be the soul of the man, and the other one much smaller to be the soul of physicality, and bring a big one to play the big magnet to play the creator, and then you see how you twist and turn and how each one creates emotion. Any other question?
And we have another question that sort of segues into that last thing you said. You've mentioned using discs, the nano-coated discs for interacting with fields. So Anonymous asks in the next question, can we use the disc tomorrow for the transmutation tests?
Yes,
and can we put the discs on the cosmic ray unit when using the unit?
yes, you can. But what are you going to do with the hand which is free? You have two, or you have one. If you use a disc, put them flat on the top, and then next step, keep them vertical and see how you feel, how it transmutes and how it transfers. If you can make a ball on top of your, what do you call, transmutation box, and you can put your disc in the lubricated state, not stuck to the ball, see how it moves, how it rotates. In a way, it works like the compass of the soul, if you understand what it means.
Okay. Another question for tomorrow from Gerhard, who says, Mr. Keshe, you said that we should have 2 GANS bottles ready for Friday training tomorrow. Can we take the dry GANSes from London and Sonia?
Why not? Try it. Why not?
I thought you might say that.
Because there's no limitation. When you bring limitation, you bring in prejudices and then dogmas and all sorts. A man in this age, with understanding this technology, has to be open-minded and look at the facts, not what he wants to preserve with the fact. And I heard a lot. Mr. Keshe said you can't do that. Do it and see what it brings you. But certain say don't do, because we know the harm of it. It's like we tell you don't make cans of aluminium, don't make cans of the lead, because we know what it does. If you want to play with it. We'll come and see you in the mental institute. But you still be good in the mental institute. This is why they took the lead and aluminium out of the fuel, because when it came out of the exhaust, it's not literally matter state of it, it's a GAN system, because it just burns its nanocoat of it. And then it interacts with your brain. That's it. Voila. If you take it in, now it creates another condition. You have to understand what you create, how you create, and what is the outcome of that creation. In interaction with your soul, interaction with the field of your body. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. We have another question from Hong in the Q&A, who says, hello, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for your commitment to the cause of peace for mankind. In the last teaching, you said CH3 is C15 too. In understanding that this is the matter state of energy and this is the universal state of energy to the Creator, And the energy combination of this with the amino acid gives a clarity and an energy release that can reach man to C15. That's why we see narcotics have such effect. That was the quote. And you said, once I explain this, why we have excitation in a point of addiction to sex, it is because in the subconscious level we reach to the point of creator due to the hormones within the body of the man. That's the end of that quote. So the question is, can you explain more about drug and sexual energy and addiction to them? Thank you very much.
We get addicted to what gives us emotional outcome, because emotions are connected to hydrogen. And it's like, I don't know if you ever been to these food tests pieces when you walk down the shopping center and there are people asking you, would you mind testing different kind of, let's say, crisps for us? And which one you like more? It's in a way, the taste is connected to the salt content and the sugar connection of it. And then you get connected to the energy that brings to you. And it's the same. You connect to your soul, you connect to your solar physicality according to the energy which gives you, which matches your understanding or matches the field strength of your body. We get addicted to alcohol because of the matching. It creates a Trinity field strength between certain emotion and the physicality. And we get addicted to cocaine, and some of us cannot even touch drugs, alcohol, or whatever. And if you do it out of fear, we find out it's still there. We live with the demon of ourselves. But we can't get addicted to it because it's not in its cycle. The strength, feel the strength, that's what we have. Even we might try. But we test it, we try it and see. And how much energy gives us, and what that energy creates as emotion in us is part of the process of the field gratification sometimes. It's people drink themselves to alcoholism and destroying their life. In a way they don't plan to do it, it just gives them a field of strength that they need, but we never get satisfied. It's the same with everything else. And this brings addiction, because you try to fulfill what is already has a different dimension and field of strength. And to satisfy it as an emotion, we call it addiction. And this is part of the structure. And then we value it, and how we value that emotion, and the field of strength which comes with it, and because of it. Then we are addicted to it because we want to confirm that we need this. Well, in fact, our body might not need it, but it's our emotion which needs that. We get drunk to forget the pains of the emotion of what we cannot handle in the physical or emotional life. We get addicted to sex because we want to confirm I can create and I'm in control of the creation, but I connect it to the other things. It's what we get, or it becomes a physical emotion that you have to do it, to have it, to confirm you exist. And then what do you get out of it emotionally? It's sometimes not addiction, but it's confirmation of existence. 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . . 。 . 。 . Those who have the confirmation of existence, you can bring them to the point that they walk away as they understand, I exist, I don't need to confirm it. And you see they used to be lifetime alcoholic or whatever, and then next time they never touch anything, they don't feel like it for a lifetime. I don't need to be alcoholic and go to a pub to drink to confirm part of the human race, or at least I can be somewhere the others are, that I confirm I have emotions. And then with it comes addiction, because then that place I don't remember anything and I'm using it to confirm my existence. It'll be very interesting. We're waiting for now that the, what they call it, the flag and pole, and the, what we call, parallel to it for the ladies has gone out and is going out. What feedback we get from you in respect to the emotion and the confirmation of addiction. And it's very, very interesting with the addiction people, the same. And whenever you feel like taking alcohol, take a few drops of Kansas water of it, and then you'll see if it satisfies the feel or you need more of it. And then you understand the connection between the emotion and the feels, the interaction of yourself. Any other question?
Yes, I see that in our chat here in the Zoom that Stephanie had put in. She was the one that asked the question on lucid dreams, and she put a follow-up comment here. First, she says she's new to the teachings and to the channel, and thank you for all of this, much needed for humanity. And she mentions an emotion associated with excitement in her dream, and she asked the question because she says, I become aware in the dream that I am dreaming and then wonder what to do next. So I jump up and fly in the dream in my body, or I look for a reference of time, a clock, or my location. Example, am I on Earth or in a different world? And wonder if this is a parallel world or parallel timeline. Sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I am in this reality and the dream world simultaneously, wondering what is happening. Thank you kindly.
Nothing, just confirmation of you exist in both dimensions, at a matter state field of the body of the man and an energy state as the soul of the man. You exist, you denied it, now you confirm it, and it's amazing how, if you become wise to it, how to use it, you can do a lot of play with this. If you achieve that point, or you understand where is the two together, you one of the best things you can do with it is solve a problem. If in your physical life you have a problem and then you are in that state, go to the state of energy, what you call the soul, and through the emotion, put the question or the solution needed for it. And you'll find that you get the right solution for it, because the two are there to save each other, to live, coexist with each other. And this gives you a lot of freedom, a lot of options, if you can do it. I know a few people who do. And when they run into problem in a physical life, they just go, let's see what I can do on the energy side, or we call it the soul side, or you call it the dream side. And they always come up with 100% correct decisions or movement or action. It's very, very interesting. Quite a few people I know who can do this. Coexist in dimension of physicality, but they can tap into the, what we call the other partner in the structure. Shall we call it a day? Or is there more to
Well, there'll always be more questions, but I think to address them will require a bit more time. So those people that still have questions can reserve them for next week, perhaps.
Yeah, thank you very much. The people who join us tomorrow, I'm sure you're going to have a fantastic time tomorrow. I tell you how you're going to do your headphones. And if you have the obese headphones or cosmic ray, bring them along. And if you have the discs, bring them along. Give yourself more option of entry, different fields. If you have cosmic bundles, bring them along and bring some ganses with you. And now is the playtime. Understand your limitation. Your own limitation, how you can use the energies to reach the point of transmutation. Because up to now you couldn't do it in the physical because you don't have that the strength needed. Make your own mixture and then you see which one fits you best. If there is no questions, we call it a day.
I think we can let you go, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much for your teachings today.
You're welcome. Enjoy yourself. And as I said now before, there's discs and cosmic ray bundles are now in stock anyway. If you want to test and join in, order them. They'll be going out immediately. And when you get your cosmic material, then you start playing with it when we do the sessions. We're going to announce next week the new sessions for November, December. 2 sessions, very intense. It won't be 2 hours. We most probably do it in 2-day session if it comes to it, but give you a much deeper chance to enter into dimensions of what we call inner circles to be able to transmute. And our systems are coming up to that point. And we can support it in a long-term support. Thank you very much for today. And see you next week.
All right, very good. Thank you. Well, thank you everyone for being here today and attending the 560th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, October 17th, 2024. We'll be back again next week, I believe, at the same time. And as we have in the past 559 workshops, consecutive each week, and expect to continue into the future. Speaking of the future, our next public teaching workshop is the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace, which comes up on Tuesday, October 22nd. And that starts at the 4 p.m. Central European Time. And that will be with members of the Universal Council and support members. And that's primarily on the soul aspect of the connection with the Universal Council. Okay, I think that's it for now. Thank you, everybody, again for attending, and a big thank you to Mr. Keshe, of course, for his continued support of these Knowledge Seekers workshops. Okay, we'll go out with our Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit music version as per usual, and see you all in the next public teaching. Bye for now.